getting lumped up with RockerMike and Rob Rossi. I'm getting lumped up with RockerMike and Rob Rossi. Well, I'm lumped up, but I'm okay. It's gonna get lumped up anyway. You better call back the posse. Just getting lumped up with RockerMike and Rob Rossi. Getting lumped up with RockerMike and Rob Rossi.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the new episode of RockerMike and Rob Presents. Today we have a special guest, Jimbo Jones from the Boston punk band Key of Caustic. Very cool band, up and coming on 213 Records, code 213, records. And we're going to talk to Jim today and pick his brain, see what makes him work, makes him tick, you know. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, cool. So you're based out of Boston, right?
Yes.
Are you Boston born and bred?
Boston born and bred. Yep.
All right. Well, we're New Yorkers born and bred, so we'll keep
you off the hook. Okay.
We'll keep the few to the side for today.
Hey, you know what today is? Today's opening day at Fenway
And Yankee Stadium too.
Oh, is it? Nice. Nice.
And I'm a Met fan, so he's the Yankee fan. So
you're a friend then. You're a friend.
Yeah, we're all good
then.
friends.
Yeah. Right.
So you are the main vocalist and guitar player. Also, the other members in the band, I'll mention them quick, is Mike DeFranco on lead guitar and backing vocals. Josh Denoncourt, am I saying his name right? Denoncourt on bass and backing vocals, and Colin Fahey on drums and percussion. I get that right?
You got it, man. Nailed it.
Okay. How'd you guys meet?
Oh boy. So this will go back to, late 2019, early 2020, when the pandemic was really just starting to hit. Once it was realized that at 15 days to slow the spread crap was not really going to happen, right? Which I think we all knew. I thought, well, I got married and went through a divorce, had a kid, and stopped doing music for a little bit. And I thought, wow, hey, now's the time to really get back into music. What a great time to form something, write a bunch of songs. With the intent of just going out to some local pubs around Boston with some original music, with myself on an acoustic guitar and my buddy on a djembe or a cajon box or something like that, and just go rock out some pubs. And wrote a bunch of demos, sent them out to my network, mostly just friends and some connected people. And the feedback came back and said, hey, this great stuff, but this is not acoustic duo stuff. You got to get a band around this. And so that was kind of the catalyst to do that. Brought in a few guys I knew and decided I don't want to do it with guys I know. I want to start something fresh and new perspectives and really create something special. And so that's how this iteration came in. I never knew any of these guys, Colin, Mike and Josh, but we
put an ad out or something, or
just through networking on Facebook and Instagram and stuff. Came in and auditioned a bunch of guys, and this is the group that transitioned in and out a couple of guys, as is always the case. And then finally, now we've got the core. So that's how
I'd say that was a good move on your behalf, because sometimes when you keep working with people that you have that baggage there, and old arguments come up and things like that. So you're better off sometimes starting fresh. But it must have been hard with the pandemic to coordinate all that, right? I mean, you really couldn't play anywhere.
Right. Couldn't play anywhere. Thankfully, we were able to get a rehearsal space in Charlestown. I don't know if you guys know Boston or not, but there's an area called Charlestown. And there's an old factory that's there that was converted about 10 plus years ago into some rehearsal spaces. So I was able to nail one of those. So at least we could get out of the homes, out of the apartments, and into a space and actually start collaborating. So we just wrote and perfected our set, with the hopes and the intent of the venues opening back up. I started reaching out to all of the venues when they were shut down, saying, hey, whenever you're ready, we're ready. And as soon as the dust settled, we started getting the call, and the rest is history,
Yeah. And the one maybe silver lining and all that waiting was at least you could get the songs down, right? And write new ones or, work on them. you had time to practice.
Right.
That's great. That's great. So I understand that you starting to work with Paul Coldery, okay, producer Paul Coldery.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, he's worked with the Pixies, Radiohead, Dinosaur Jr. I love that band.
Great
And
band.
Hole, right? Courtney Love and Hole. He worked with several other people. So you're working on an album that's supposed to come out later this year with Paul, right?
Yeah, so we're not really sure how that's gonna all go down, but Paul's actually he's coming into town on Sunday. He's meeting us at our rehearsal space. We're gonna really identify the first two or three. He wants to do three to start and see what sort, what his fingerprint on these can actually do. And
Right.
then based on how those do, Dennis really just wants to do an album. I want to do an album. We don't have one. We've got a bunch of singles. Quite a few of them have started to chart, so we think it's time to do it. But yeah, that's the plan. That's you know.
Now on
You
your
know what I
website,
think? The 8 songs that you guys got
Yeah.
on your website, they're pretty damn good, man. They're like really,
Thanks.
it's like you
Yeah.
guys call yourself punk, but I feel like a lot of rock and roll influence in you. Like,
Yeah.
like definitely like you guys are rocking. It's like you want to get up and move kind of music. It's very good rock and roll, I gotta tell you guys.
Thanks, man. I appreciate
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
I
thank you.
second that. But you say, I mean, you got 8 songs on your website, which is keyofcaustic.com. So anybody can check it out. But the 8 songs you got on there are pretty solid. I mean, you might want to do 12 for an album or something like that, right?
Yeah. Something like that. 10, around 10-ish at a minimum.
Are
So
they
that's the
all
plan.
originals?
Oh yeah, all originals.
Right?
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
you could pad it with 2 covers or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, we have a ton of material, man. That's one of the things that Paul told me. He told me a story about one of his bands. I can't say who. You would totally know them. And they went up to this huge, pinnacle, and hung there for a while, and then just dropped. And I said, "Why did that happen?" And he said, "They ran out of material. Essentially, they ran out of new material. So we don't
Yeah.
have that problem. We've got like 73 songs in the pipeline right now, man. We just go hard on that."
But most bands, in my experience, what I've seen is, the first album, they got all the material, maybe the second album. But when you start getting into like third and fourth, it's like harder. I mean, one of my all-time favorite bands is the Ramones.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah.
Which I'm sure you're influenced by.
Oh, absolutely.
And, if you read about the history of them, they basically had their first 3 albums written before they even recorded their first one.
Yep.
All right. So, but then it was the 4th album, Road to Ruin, that they struggled with because you had to start fresh. There was no new material. It had to be written, and that's kind of like, sometimes they call it the sophomore jinx if it's the second album, but it's just definitely a struggle within a lot of bands. But are you the main songwriter?
Yeah, I am. So we've got actually a really great process how we do it. So yeah, I come up with the ideas, and it's just not. It's this weird thing. You're gonna think I'm totally out of my mind, which I probably am. But I'll have this idea in my head, and I'll hear this melody, this rhythm, this vocal line, or something in my head, over and over and over, all day, every day. And I know that when I have to start reaching for my guitar every minute that I can, I wake up, I want to go grab my guitar and start to vet that out and play that out. When something like that gets in my head, I have to make it a song. And so that's really the catalyst for me to start writing something new. Once I come up with like a basic intro, I've got the chord progression, I've got the lyrics done, even if there might be some dummy lyrics at first, but something that kind of feels like a song, right? It's got an intro, it's got verses, it's got a chorus, it's got a bridge, it's got a spot for a solo, it's got an out. And then I hit my studio, which is behind me, my home studio, and I'll sort of demo that out. I'll write my own bass track, and I'll do a dummy drum track, and just give the guys something at the next rehearsal and say, "Okay, guys, I came up with this. Let's make it a song." And then once those guys put their signature on it, their thumbprint, if you will, then that's when it actually becomes a song.
Right.
So yeah,
Wow.
that's how it works. And then we'll send it to Dennis, and we'll send it to Paul, and we'll get their thumbs up, thumbs down, and depending on that, we'll roll it over onto the roster from there.
Yeah. And that's how you've done these 8 tracks, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So what are some of your big influences? Let's go back into your early years. What bands influence you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you nailed one of them pretty much, Ramones. And so, my tastes are pretty varied. I've got that vintage punk, Johnny Thunders, Sex Pistols, Ramones, that whole thing,
Yeah.
Misfits, right?
Right.
I also get into like a little bit of new wave-ish stuff for a while too. Like I love the melodies,
Mhm.
and the harmonies and backup vocals. Of course, David Bowie, that's Tom Petty.
Right.
I've even got influences from Guns N' Roses and
Sure.
Aerosmith, of course. So it's just a well-rounded, a well-balanced diet of stuff. I think when I write, my style tends to lean punk. Sometimes we turn it into a blues rock. Sometimes
Yeah.
we turn it into something poppy. It really just depends on how it organically evolves, but that's pretty much it.
It's funny you mentioned Thunders because I do hear it in some of your songs.
Awesome. Oh, that's the best. Thank
I
you.
do hear it. I'm a tremendous Thunders fan, so I know.
Awesome.
But that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Mike, Where Did It Go is a pretty solid song. I was listening before we started the show, and that's a damn good song. Like, if you're going to release that single, that's a good song to come out. Like, it's a solid song, man. Great
Thank
stuff.
you.
Yeah.
It came out and it started just rolling. It got legs and it just took off. And Where Did It Go is sort of our homage, right? Our nod to Thunders and Sex Pistols and
Definitely.
Ramones.
Mhm.
We wanted to bring that into now and then put like a 2023 flair on it, a little bit. So that's what we tried.
One thing that we've talked about on several different podcasts that we have is how it seems like the way the world is going today, it's ripe for another kind of like, rock and roll revolution, whether another punk era. It may not be called that, but something in that vein. Between the pandemic driving everybody crazy, and then now things are opening again and people getting out, it seems like time could be ripe. People are angry about things, the state of the world and all that stuff. So there's kind of like ingredients here. And what I'm hearing in your music, in these 8 tracks that are on the website, is, kind of like the roots being laid down for something like that. And Boston has such a rich history of great garage bands and everything like that. I know Dennis manages Tony Valentino from the Standells, garage band. I mean, that's the quintessence. We had Tony on last year. He was great.
Yeah. Cool guy. Great song too.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I said, Boston has so much history of great music coming out of it, and you guys are just like another example of that. That's the way I see it.
Man. Yeah,
you know what? They have a lot of venues out there also that people can play. Like New York is starting to come back with there's few venues. Like we got 11th Street Bar. You can see live music almost every day. 11th Street Bar got live music pretty good. It's a little stage, but you know what? The place you get a band back there and it's fantastic. You also got that what is it? Whatever, Coney Island Baby, that they changed the name. They shows there all the time.
Awesome.
It's so this places it's starting to pick up a little bit, and people want to go out and see shows. People definitely want to go out and see shows.
And over the last like 10 years or so, like Brooklyn's really come up as places. If you need any recommendations, just email me. I'll hit you up with some.
Yeah, we're actually going to be playing Bar Frida at some point.
Bar Frida, where's that?
Bar Frida, it's in Brooklyn.
Yeah. Okay, I heard of it.
With a friend's band out there, and so we're trying to coordinate. Not to get off topic, but we're going to do a Providence and a Connecticut. We want to do like a mini tour in a long weekend or something. And Bar Frida.
When is this starting?
We're trying to figure that out now. It looks like it could be August, September, or somewhere in that.
I'll definitely be there, man.
Awesome.
Definitely. Now you mentioned new wave as an influence and for the melodies and stuff like that. I noticed on YouTube, I guess it's your Key of Caustic channel, I think it was. There was an interesting video of you guys doing the Boomtown Rats I Don't Like Mondays.
Oh yeah.
And I kind of was like, I'll be honest with you, I like maybe 2 or 3 songs from that band. Okay, and that one is probably. If it was 3, it would be like number 3. You know what I mean? It's not I like kind of some of the stuff from the earlier period.
Sure.
But I don't like Mondays. I was really surprised the way you guys did it. I'm like, how are they going to do this? You know, and I'm listening to it, and I'm like, shit, that was good.
Yeah. You know, that was kind of a sort of a fluky thing. You know, we have an opportunity to get on a couple of compilation albums, right? That on some massive Spotify playlists that would just open us up to new people. And so one of the, several of them require it to be a cover song that it's redone, right?
Yeah.
An old one that's obscure, kind of, that has some relevance for now. And I thought, man, I don't know if I can swear, but who the bleep likes Mondays? Nobody likes Mondays.
You can fucking curse all you want on this.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
We're not really PG, you know.
Yeah, okay. I wasn't sure. Like some of them people freak out when I'm,
No, not us. Not us.
Yeah. So I just thought, you know what? Nobody likes Mondays. It's a song that if you do know the song, you'll go, oh, I know that song. This is kind of a cool punk spin on it. And if you don't know the song, you'll be like, wow, this is kind of a cool punk song, that I don't like Mondays. And, it's kind of got that anthem vibe behind it, that mantra, I don't like Mondays. Right. And so, we number one wanted to do it for the compilation album, but number two, that's one of the ones that we sent off to Paul, and Dennis really, really likes it. And so at some point we're going to actually release it. So.
Oh, that's great, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's a good song that, deserves a comeback.
Yeah. And it's fun. It's fun to play. Yeah. And, I'm sort of not really a giant Bob Geldof fan myself, but that's a great song. That's just extremely well written with a beautiful melody. And so we wanted to try to capture that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when he was in the Boomtown Rats, he was onto something a little bit, but then just became kind of a douchebag as far as I'm concerned. So
apparently, yeah.
But whatever.
That whole Pink Floyd The Wall thing went to his head.
Yeah. And then Live Aid and becoming Sir Bob Geldof.
Yeah. No,
yeah, whatever. Yeah, exactly. Don't need that. So it says on your website that you guys have been opening for some people, some bigger acts that have been coming through Boston. Who have you opened for?
Yeah, we've opened up for Weatherworn. We've opened up for 13 Fridays. We've opened up for, so many of them, man. Veers from out in LA, actually from London and LA, they combined. We've had a chance to, get on some stages, tap into some new fans from some of these bands when they stop in town. Yeah. Our manager right now is working on more and more of those opportunities, but at bigger and bigger stages, bigger venues. So Murder by Death reached out to us and is interested in having us come on like in September when they're at the Paradise in Boston.
Cool.
So yeah, stuff like that, man. So we just, when we play our own venues around Boston, we bring a nice crowd and we just rock out. Now it's time to figure out, like, how do we tap into new fans, right? We can bring ours, but so getting on those bigger stages and having those local support, opening slot opportunities is going to help us do that.
Cool. Yeah. You mentioned in the beginning that, you had given up music for a while and came back to it right at the beginning of the pandemic. Why did you give up music, and what were you doing? What kind of stuff were you doing before?
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't say I gave it up. I just wasn't in a band. I was sort of inactive for a while. I still was, always playing and writing and collaborating and jamming out with friends here and there, but I didn't have an active band. Life came in, and I got married, had a little kid, had a baby that, and went through that whole cycle, and then got divorced, and then part of my divorce, I lost a whole fuck ton of money. I had a Paul Reed Smith go flying down the stairs and crack in half.
I've been there twice. I know how you feel.
Yeah. So, and then, once I was newly single again and, all that shit was behind and it was really time. It was time to get back into it. I didn't have somebody screaming over my head going, are you doing that again tonight? Yeah. Those, you spend more time with them than you do me. I don't have that. So I might as well, leverage that.
You can concentrate on the music.
Yeah.
Nobody mind if I do a shot right now.
No, go ahead, Mr. Rossi.
I'll do a chase.
Yeah, I got a water chaser here. Actually, after the show, I'm going to be coming into the city. I'm going to go see the Residents tonight.
Awesome. Where are they at?
They're at a little club called Le Poisson Rouge on Bleecker Street.
Ooh, that's a good venue.
It is a good venue. We saw Peter Murphy there, right?
Yeah, Peter Murphy.
Yeah. That's a place you guys could play. Le Poison Rouge.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I've never heard of it, but yeah.
It's
We
the
definitely wanna
old.
go.
It's the old Village Gate.
Oh, okay.
You ever heard of the Village Gate? That was a
I-
club that was around for 50 years.
Wow.
And Bob Dylan used to play, all that stuff.
Cool as
And,
CBGB?
Stevie's been gone, man.
I know.
Long
Was
time.
it as cool as that place?
Nothing's cool as that.
Totally different vibe.
Yeah.
Different vibe, yeah.
CB's was a shithole, and
Yeah.
Village Gate was like a supper club. You sit down and have a
right.
drink, and it wasn't as run down as CB's. I mean, CB's was a totally different
That
experience.
used to be called a club too. It was called like a club. That was a club also, because I've been there when it was a club.
Yeah, I think it was a dance club for a short time after
Yeah.
the Village Gate closed, and then but they've reconfigured it. Like the Village Gate used to be a big space, and they made it smaller for this Le Poison Rouge. Like they cut it in half, but it's still a great venue.
Awesome.
You should definitely look into it.
Yeah, we will.
Now, in your first go around in music, and compared to now, what do you see as some of the big differences, changes?
Well, I was in my 20s then, and you do. I'm not as, it was more, the lifestyle was more crazy,
Sure.
staying up for 3 days in a row and partying and playing,
Yeah.
all the kind of deal. It's a more mature thing, a little bit now. But I mean, the rocker vibe and the rocker spirit is still the same. I think now having that, having lived that, that party, wild, crazy lifestyle, and then having a lull from that, and now at this stage of life, I'm smart enough now to know what to do, and more importantly, what not to do.
Yeah.
what my limits are. But we've got a good group of guys now. We have a lot of fun. I mean, we don't, we're not altar boys, by any means, but we keep it in check. Yeah.
Keep it more about the music than anything else.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
But how about the technology? I mean, there's been so many changes in the last 10, 15 years in just the way that people record. You got your home studio behind you on your computer. I see that. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the thing. There's down here. I imagine it's the same up in Boston. There's just very few studios anymore, and everybody does things at home. And is that the case?
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, there's still a lot of great studios here. Like Q Division, they shut down for a while. They opened back up. They went from Somerville over to Cambridge. That's a place that Coldery used to do a lot of stuff at when, after Fort Apache and all of that. But yeah, I mean, try to find a studio now that has that analog setup, that warm, and that's what I love. I love that. And when, back, pre-marriage, that's all I did was analog stuff in terms of the studio. Now it's all digital, and I go back and forth. I like it, I hate it. I like it, I hate it. But the really cool thing is I can make really cool stuff at home, and it doesn't cost me anything.
Right.
At least for demo. So it's got its pluses and its minuses. Sometimes it has that digital sound. You can just tell it doesn't have that. Like I use tube amplifiers, not solid state, because I love that warm tube tone. That the balls on that.
Right.
So it's kind of like that.
Right. I mean, there's people that there's artists out there that really that they look for studios that are analog, and they're able to, if they can find them, that's where they'll go record, even if it's far away.
Right.
One guy that's a friend of the show, I'm sure you heard of the band, the Chesterfield Kings.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Greg Prevost.
Oh, yeah.
He's a great guy. He's been on the show, and I'm friends with him on Facebook and everything like that. He's up in Rochester.
Okay.
And he's working on some material, and he's in a studio that's all analog. Maybe you want to look into Rochester as a place. Who knows? I know it's far, but
yeah.
Well,
the good thing is our guitar player is from upstate. So our lead guitar player, Mike, he's from upstate. So
okay, yeah, look into it. If I can find the name of the place, I'll email you, let you know. What were you gonna say, Rob?
Yeah, who likes to play like that too? Jack White. He loves to fight that old school sound.
Yeah.
Rock out, and it's a great sound when you think about it.
Yeah. Even places that even people that have like old amps that are using the old vacuum tubes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like the only places you can get those tubes are like in Europe.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah, and you know where else? Russia.
Russia.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
yeah.
still have
Imagine
like
that.
they've found like over the years they've found like warehouses full of those tubes in Europe and Russia.
Wow.
All right, there's no more here as far as I know. There might be,
Yeah,
but
right.
I don't know.
Jeez, man, that's crazy.
Yeah. Eventually, they just because nobody makes them anymore.
Yeah.
They're not the
Putin's not gonna let us get any of those.
no. Or he's going to charge a lot.
Yeah, right. He needs the money. Yeah.
So, your new single, is it going to be Where Did It Go?
Yeah, it drops officially on the 31st of this month. We
Right.
have it in pre right now, and it just like trumped, in terms of like streams and stuff like that over all of them almost combined. So people are digging it.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
You making a video for it?
Yeah.
You do it yet, or is it going to come out at the same time?
Well, that was the plan, but it didn't quite work out. It may like dovetail like a week after or something like that.
Yeah,
So,
you'll get it out.
it's being done now. So yeah.
Cool. You got to let us know because on my Rock Show podcast group page on Facebook, I always have like a song of the day and all that, and I can hit a couple thousand people.
Awesome, man. Yeah, we'll definitely get it to you for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I'll keep an eye out. I subscribe to your channel, so I'll get an update.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, appreciate that.
Yeah, we're hitting like close to 2,000 people on that page where you look at the numbers. It's like 19 plus. So
that's
that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, between that and my regular page, it gets out there.
Awesome.
It'd be cool.
Yeah, exposure's good.
Yeah. All right, Jimbo, I want to thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you guys.
All right. And we wish you all the luck with Key of Caustic out of Boston.
Thank you very much.
All right. And keep in touch, and we will definitely hook up when you come down to Brooklyn for sure.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
And guys, remember the single comes out tomorrow. Actually, the 31st. Tomorrow. Go download it, buy it, listen to it, rock it out.
By the time the show is up, it'll be out for a few days. And definitely go to keyofcaustic.com.
Thank you guys.
All right.
Really appreciate you guys. Take care, boys.
Take care.
Have a good one.
I'm getting lumped up with RockerMike and Rob Rossi. I'm getting lumped up with RockerMike and Rob Rossi. Well, I'm lumped up, but I'm okay. It's gonna get lumped up anyway. You better call back the posse. Just getting lumped up with RockerMike and Rob Rossi. Getting lumped up with RockerMike and Rob Rossi.